Hello and welcome to another pen video from me, Penultimate Dave. So I have here another 10 pens currently inked up for this week. I think let's go through these briefly one by one. We'll go through them in a little bit more detail and then we'll do a writing sample. So left to right we have the TWSBI Vac 700R in the iris. We have another TWSBI Vac 700R in the iris. We have an Opus 88 Claro demonstrator with an Architect nib. We have a Visconti Medici Il Magnifico in the red marble. We have a Visconti Medici Il Magnifico in the Lapis Lazuli. We have a Classic Pens LB5 in the Kawasaki. We have a Taccia Miyabi Winter's Breath. We have a Visconti Chatterley Luxuries Southwest. We have a Scribo, and this is in the Cardinal Red, a Scribo 2, and we have a Scribo 3 in the Bologna blue. So I think let's take a look at these pens inked up in a little bit more detail. So this is a pen I've been writing with this week. I put a lovely green ink in here, but it is already quite low. I have been writing with this a lot. It is a TWSBI Vac 700R. It's in the iris, so it's got that flame torch rainbow effect going on there. You also have on these the rainbow nib as well, and also these trims. TWSBI have more recently brought out the 580 in the iris. I do prefer the Vac 700R. It's a little bit bigger, a little bit more ink capacity, and I prefer this. I did wonder about whether or not I should buy some 580s. I'm a little bit keen on the rainbow effect, and as much as I like the 580s, I realise I really haven't written with my 580s in a very long time. I don't actually at the moment get that much writing experience on the Vac 700Rs, but I decided I would ink these two back up. The next pen again is another TWSBI Vac 700R iris in that flame torch, and each flame torch version is different, so the colours you will see are a little bit different on each one, but you have all of this trim. It is a vac filling mechanism. Again, you have that flame torching on the nib. This nib is actually a medium nib, and double check this nib because I didn't actually say what this nib was. I think it's a broad. Yeah, it's a broad nib. So that's a broad, and this is a medium nib. They're both power vac fillers, and you can see the ink sloshing around there. There's something sort of majestic about seeing ink sloshing around inside the body or barrel of the pen that I do like a lot. And this is another one that has a lot more ink capacity than the TWSBIs. This is the Opus 88 Claro demonstrator. I really do like the look on this. I like the frosted effect. I kind of think it would be nice if they had done the frosted effect throughout, but it does allow you to see this ink sloshing around a lot better. I do like the very polished glass-like effect here on the finials that you have there. This nib is a nib that it's a Yovo broad nib that the Claros come in. I did grind this into essentially a Naginata Togi or an Architect nib, so you can see the tip of that nib there. It's a little bit like a swordfish. Very, very nice writing nib, I have to say. Well, I did grind it myself, so I probably would say that, but I know I have allowed a lot of people at my pen club to try that nib, and they do like it. So it's not just me saying that. The next pen here inked up is the Visconti Medici Il Magnifico in the red marble. I had this inked up last week. I'm still trying to get through the ink on this. I don't always get through the ink every single week. It really depends on how much I can write during that week. I didn't write a lot last week, so I've got this one inked up this week, and it does hold about 1.5 milliliters of ink. So this is solid silver and solid marble, very weighty pen, hook safe lock mechanism. It's got a 23 cat palladium medium nib there. Very nice weighty pen. I have to say, over the years, I've been going for heavier and heavier pens. I think this is around about 75 grams in weight, maybe, but I do like it. It is a nice weighty pen. Not everybody likes a weighty pen, but I have to say I do. The next pen here inked up is again another Visconti Medici Il Magnifico. This is in the Lapis Lazuli. Again, it's basically granite marble. It's a rock body, and the silver cap section and also the vac knob are actually gold vermeil, so gold plated over solid sterling silver. Beautiful, beautiful pen. I love this yellow gold effect. It is a power vac filler, holds 1.5 milliliters of ink. It's a single reservoir, hook safe lock, concave section, and it's got the newer 18 karat gold nib from Visconti, but I just love it. I love how it writes. It writes a little bit more like a broad nib instead of a medium nib that it actually is, but I do like it. I have to say I am a fan of it. So I have that one inked up, again trying to get through the remainder of that ink this week. And another one that is now running dry. I don't know if I'm going to have enough ink actually. I might have to dip this. We'll see. This is the Classic Pens LB5 made by Sailor. It is the LB5 Kaen that you can see there. And number 38 of 50. Only 50 made. Diffusion bonded acrylic. I say only 50 made. There were about 5 colours and 50 in each colour. But this was a magnificent pen that Sailor made for Classic Pens, and you're never going to see that ever again. So I am really, really in awe that I was able to pick this one up when I did. It took me about 4 years to find one, but I found one. It's got a Sailor King of Pen nib on there, 21 karat gold nib, and again cartridge converter, but you can see that that converter is now out. So I am literally writing on fumes. So we'll see if I have to dip that nib just to get through the writing sample. I'm hoping I won't, but we'll have to wait and see. The next pen here inked up is the Taccia Miyabi Winter's Breath, and a stunning, stunning pen. It's a Maki pen, it's a Urushi, it's an ebonite pen. So it's ebonite as the base, so it's vulcanized or hard rubber. It is then machiaed with these crushed quail's eggs and also abalone Rawdon strips, and then Urushi lacquered over the top. Beautiful pen. I have to say I am loving this pen a lot. It does have a smaller number 6 size nib there from Taccia. There is a newer version out called the Empress, which is slightly wider to accommodate a slightly larger number 8 size King of Pen nib. I say King of Pen, it's a Taccia pen, but Sailor actually make the nibs for Taccia. It's also about £800 or $800 more to get the Empress than it is to get this one, and this is already an expensive pen. So I am actually glad that I got this one. Again, this is almost out of ink. Look, you can see that there. I have almost wrote that dry. So I might have to dip that. Let's see. I think I can probably get a writing sample out of that pen before I exhaust that ink. The next pen I have inked up is this one. It's a Visconti, a Chatterley Luxuries Southwest. It's a celluloid material. It's the same material that Visconti used on the Speakeasy and the St. Basil. And I do have a Speakeasy and 2 St. Basils, one in a fountain pen, one in a rollerball, and then I have this one. So I have 4 in this celluloid material. I honestly would go for more if I could. It's a beautiful celluloid with reds, blues, blacks, maybe a hint of purple. Beautiful. Very glad that Bryant at Chatterley managed to do this exclusive with Visconti through Coles of London. This is number 20 of 28. So there was 28 I want to say 28 in each trim. One was a yellow gold, one was a ruthenium, but I have a feeling it might have been 14 actually in each trim, because this material is getting quite scarce now. It comes with the number 6 size Visconti, newer 18 karat gold nib. It's a medium nib there. It's a power vac filler, single reservoir, so 1.5 milliliters of ink, hook safe lock, concave section. It's just a beautiful pen to write with. You can post the cap. I don't, but you can if you want to. Beautiful, beautiful pen. Great for quick writing sessions. Being able to cap and uncap that cap very, very quickly. The next pen here I have inked up. I've not inked up for a very long time, and I decided I would try and ink it up. This is a Right Here exclusive. Right Here is a retailer in the UK, and this is, if you don't know the history behind this, Right Here was the UK distributor for Omas before they shut their doors. And when a number of the employees, Luca was one of them, I think he was the marketing director at the time, set up Scribo, and his wife as well. They decided to pair with John Hall at Right Here, and John had a number of custom-made pens from Scribo, and this is the Scribo 2. The Scribo 1 was in a grey colour. The Scribo 2 came in green and red. I've got the green as well. This is the Cardinal Red. It's a piston filling pen, cylindrical, but you do, on this one, I do have the 14 karat gold flex nib, or extra flessibile nib that Omas used to call it. Scribo actually using the same nibs that Omas used to use from Bock. Very, very nice nibs. So I have that one inked up with me this week as well. And then the last one I have inked up this week is this one. It looks like a Scribo 2. It essentially is, but I'll tell you why it's not. Again, Right Here, the retailer in the UK. This is actually the third incarnation. So this is the Scribo 3 in Bologna blue. It has a huge amount of chatoyance there. I do like this a lot. There is, I think, a Scribo 4 and maybe a Scribo 5. I didn't pick those up purely because I have enough Scribos. I don't necessarily need more. I think one was a purple, and I kind of would like a purple. There is, again, a 14 karat gold extra flex nib there. Again, a piston filling pen, so holds about 1 milliliter of ink, 1.2 maybe. Very, very nice, and I do like those nibs a lot. So that's my currently inked pens for this week. I think let's now go and do a writing sample. So the first pen inked up this week is the TWSBI Vac 700R Iris. So we'll do an ink swatch here, and this is just double checking, it's a broad nib. So this is going to write a little bit more on the broad side, but I have to say this is quite a nice writing nib. So this is a TWSBI Vac 700R Iris in a broad, still essentially a Yovo nib. And then the ink in here is diamine, and it's mistletoe. Now, I actually want to say something. I try not to leave my pens inked up for a huge amount of time, but this pen has been inked up for well over a year, and it still writes. And I have to give it to TWSBI because that is an amazing stat. The next pen here I have inked up again is another TWSBI Vac 700R Iris, and we'll do an ink swatch here. This is not a broad nib, but it's a medium nib, and I want to say that this also has been inked up for quite some time as well. So this is the TWSBI Vac 700R in the iris, and it is a medium, and it is a steel JOVO nib, and the ink in here is diamine aqua blue, which is quite a nice blue coloured ink for sure. The next pen inked up is the Opus 88 Claro Demonstrator, and you can see all that ink sloshing around there in the barrel of that pen. And I will do an ink swatch. Now, this does have, I'm going to do it this way because it's like a paintbrush. This is a beautiful Architect nib that I ground myself. So this is the Opus 88 Claro Demonstrator in a broad Architect steel nib. Oh, just about fit it on there. And then the ink in here is diamine skull and roses. But this is a beautiful Architect grind, and I'll show you there. Very thin downstrokes, very broad cross strokes. So that's why I do like an Architect or a Naginata Togi nib. They just write quite nicely. The next pen inked up is Visconti Medici Il Magnifico in the red marble. So we'll do an ink swatch here. And this is a very, very nice writing nib. Also a very nice writing ink. I have to give it, this is a Pelican ink. I have to give this to Pelican. A very lubricated ink, I find. So this is the Visconti, and it's a Medici Il Magnifico in the red marble. And it is a medium, and it's a 23 cat palladium nib. The ink in here is, as I said, Pelican or Pelican, Edelstein, and it is Star Ruby. And yes, this is a little bit of a glittery ink. I honestly don't see much glitter from this. And yes, I have put it in a power vac filler, and I would never normally do that. But because there is very, very little glitter in that ink at all, I actually find it's a nice ink. I think even the Lamy pink, vibrant pink, has very little glitter in it as well. Very, very nice ink. I do like it a lot. The next pen inked up is the Visconti Medici Il Magnifico in the Lapis Lazuli. So we'll do an ink swatch here. And again, I just love this ink. I love how this nib writes as well, but I love the ink even more. A lovely mauve or violety blue. It's the Visconti Medici Il Magnifico in the Lapis Lazuli. And it's medium. It's an 18 cat, newer 18 cat gold nib from Visconti, and the ink in here is Pilot Orochizuku, and it is Aji Sei. But that, for me, is a beautiful, beautiful ink. I do like that ink a lot. I used to, I still have actually, Papia Balloon Forget Me Not Blue. I was looking for a replacement. It was either going to be buying, I'd hate to say it, probably 4 or 5, maybe 6 bottles of that ink, and having it shipped over and paying the import charges, paying the excess shipping charges, or find an ink more local. And I went through about 6 different inks and finally found this ink, and I love it. The next pen is the Classic Pens LB5 in the Kaen. Now, I did say that I am writing on fumes with this one. So let's see if it runs out mid-stream as I am writing. These ink swatches do take up a little bit more of an ink, so let's see. I think I can just about get through. So this is the classic pens LB5 in the Kaen. Oh, almost got that wrong. And it is a medium 21 cat gold nib. And I say medium, it's an Asian medium, so it writes a little bit more fine, Western fine. And the ink in here is Mont Blanc Corn Poppy Red. Ooh. That's a P, not an R. Red. And I have to say, I have got a bottle of that standing by next to me, just in case it did run out. Thankfully, it didn't. So that is a really, really good writing pen. The next pen is a Taccia Miyabi Winter's Breath, which, again, you'll also remember is almost running on fumes. I'm definitely sure if I can get that Classic Pens LB5 to write, I'm pretty sure I can get this to write. Although this is a broad nib, so it does use more ink. Let's see, I'm pretty sure I can get away with it and not have to re-ink this pen. I probably will put it back into storage for a while. Maybe I'll use it for another week. Let's see. So this is the Taccia Miyabi Winter's Breath. It's a broad, it's an 18 cat gold nib. It's a Taccia nib, but it's made by Sailor. And the ink in here is Pelican, Edelstein, Topaz. Yes, managed to get through it. So, yes, now I will have to decide whether or not I will re-ink either of those pens. The next pen is a Visconti Chassis Luxury Southwest. So we'll do an ink swatch here. And again, this is a very, very nice writing nib. Again, I like this ink a lot. So this is the Visconti Chatterley Luxuries Southwest. It's a medium and it's the newer 18 cat gold nib from Visconti. And the ink in here is again Mont Blanc Corn Poppy Red, which is a beautiful red ink. And it's just an ink that I love writing with. The next pen is a Scribo 2 in Cardinal Red. So we'll do an ink swatch here. And I haven't written with this pen for some time. I do like it. I love how the nib writes. It's a beautiful flex nib. It's the Scribo. Actually, let me twist the piston and prime it a bit more. It's the Scribo 2 in the Cardinal Red. It's a medium, and it's the Extra Flex 14 cat gold nib from Scribo, and the ink in here is Diamine Poppy Red, but that is a beautiful red ink. Very light red ink, but an ink that I do like quite a bit. And then the last pen here is a Scribo 3 in Bologna Blue. So again, we'll do an ink swatch here. Now, this is a medium Extra Flex nib. Writes very wet. I do find, though, it's not as bouncy as the Scribo 2. But I'd have to say I've used the Scribo 2 a lot more. So this is the Scribo 3 in Bologna blue, in a medium, again extra flessibile, 14 karat gold nib, and then the ink in here is diamine China blue, which I honestly think matches the blue color of this pen quite a lot. So I do think that is actually a very, very good match of the pen color to ink color. So I think let's take a look at these pens inked up one more time. So we have a TWSBI Vac 700R Iris in a broad steel nib inked up with diamine mistletoe. We have a TWSBI Vac 700R Iris in a medium steel nib inked up with diamine aqua blue. We have an Opus 88 Calaro demonstrator in a broad Architect steel nib inked up with diamine skull and roses. We have a Visconti Medici Il Magnifico in the red marble in a medium 23 karat palladium nib inked up with Pelican Edelstein Star Ruby. We have a Visconti Medici Il Magnifico in the Lapis Lazuli in a medium 18 karat gold nib inked up with Pilot Orochizuku Aji Sei. We have a Classic Pens LB5 in the Kaen in a medium 21 karat gold nib inked up with Mont Blanc Corn Poppy Red. We have a Taccia Miyabi Winter's Breath in a broad 18 karat gold nib inked up with Pelican Edelstein Topaz. We have a Visconti Chatterley Luxuries Southwest in a medium 18 karat gold nib inked up with Mont Blanc Corn Poppy Red. We have a Scribo 2 in the Cardinal Red in a medium 14 karat gold nib inked up with diamine Poppy Red. And then last but not least, we have a Scribo 3 in the Bologna Blue in a medium 14 karat gold nib inked up with diamine China Blue. There you have it. That's my currently ink pens for this week. Thanks for watching. Please like, comment and subscribe, and I'll see you on the next pen video. Bye bye.